You're listening to The Peach Pit. I'm here with Francesco from the band Black Painted Moon. Their debut album, Persona, is out now, so go check it out. Francesco, thanks for taking time to talk to me.
Thanks for inviting me.
Your debut album, Persona, I'm saying that right? Because there's that kind of AE thing going on.
Yeah, I guess the way that we will pronounce it is persone.
You're the keyboard player and the synthesizers in the band, yes?
Yeah, exactly. I play
Uh,
keyboards and yeah, everything sound design is me.
so, how did that begin for you? How did you get into music and everything?
Oh, I guess I started being into classical music a lot when I was 12, and I started studying as a piano player, so a classical piano player. And for many years, I studied in a conservatory in Venice, Italy. That's where I'm from. And at some point when was, I guess, 16, 17, I started being interested in listening to rock, metal, and yeah, I picked up my interest in progressive music. And when I met the other guys in the band, I started going towards that direction.
All right, so I need to know what were some of the early influences for you in the rock and metal category.
I think the first band that I started to listen to actively was Iron Maiden, which is kind of funny to. Yeah, I guess it's a good band to start.
Absolutely.
But I wasn't really interested in playing the genre until I started listening to Dream Theater. That was a real eye opening for me because I didn't think that keyboards could be cool sounding. I guess in a metal scenario.
Right. I think that is kind of a introduction for a lot of people when they finally hear it in that context with that band, because they've had so much commercial success. But once you discovered Dream Theater, what did you start stepping out to?
Well, I guess I was obsessed for a while with that band,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and that was also the moment where I started playing in with Black Painted Moon, uh, and I started to branch out to other bands in the progressive metal scene that were kind of not similar necessarily by the sound, but in the intention that they had in the music. And started listening to Lepers a lot. Haken is a gigantic influence, and Porcupine Tree also I discovered them, and all these bands that have a big keyboard presence also in them.
But you've really discovered you guys' own sound. So just tell me more about the band. How did you guys meet each other and everything?
Yeah, I met most of the other guys because they were friends of a friend, and they needed a keyboard player to start this progressive project. And I guess what's interesting about our band is that each one of us is influenced by, I guess, a variety of different bands and genres. Uh, well, for example, our singer is Wafa is really influenced by pop music. For example, it doesn't really listen to, I guess, like
Oh.
progressive music on her free time, and we have some more, I guess, metal oriented guys in the band. For example, the guitar players and the bass player, and our drummer listens to whatever he can listen to. I don't know, jazz or I don't know, big band music, rock, pop. So we have a very diverse background.
So it must make it really fun when you guys have an opportunity to all get in a room together and try to, come up with stuff like you have all these different ideas floating around, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, especially because yeah, as I said, we draw from different drawers, so it's always fun to yeah come together and see where it takes us.
So the name Painted Moon, where did that come from?
So we actually this is kind of a funny story because we started from the acronym BPM, which is beats per minute, and we searched for a name that fit the acronym, which is yeah
I love it. That's great.
yeah.
But in terms of like lyrics and stuff like that, how does that kind of go down in the band?
So for the lyrics, it's mainly our drummer and our singer. So Carlo, which is our drummer, and Wafa, our singer. And I guess for this record in particular, well, this is a concept album, and so the songs and the lyrics of the songs, they tell a story. So we sat down a lot, and we tried to find a way to make a record work in an organic way, also with the lyrics. So the other band members didn't necessarily write lyrics to it, but every one of us had some inputs in the story, what the story was telling.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Uh, was there like kind of like a concept going into the studio already kind of fleshed out?
Yeah, we actually spent quite a bit of time trying to flesh out what the sound of the record would be, and what the story was. So actually, every one of the tracks had a plan going in, so that we would have a dramatic line that was very well defined at the beginning that we wanted to follow. And so each one of the tracks had a role in this. So, for example, we had the more quiet track, the very metal sounding track in your face, or the very progressive and eclectic track. And these tracks reflected the particular time in the story. So that's, yeah.
Wow. And it also sort of reflects, like you said, how you guys have so many different influences going on in the band anyway. How if you were to describe Black Painted Moon to someone who's never heard it before, how would you say?
um, I guess first of all, something that I guess it's a mixture of things that makes us unique. Well, first of all, we have a female singer, which is not very usual in the progressive metal genre. Most of the singers are male singers, and I guess we really try um, to tell a story musically in our tracks, so that even in our album we have a lot of recurring patterns and themes and things that come back, so that the album is an experience to be uh, yeah, I guess, yeah, experienced. And I guess as a band, we probably the thing that makes us more unique, I guess, apart from other bands, is the fact that we have such a different set of backgrounds, as I already said. So that's, yeah. I
Yeah.
guess I don't have a one liner to define what we
No,
are.
no, no, no. That's okay. Yeah, no. But it's really neat to see because, like, as I was listening through the whole album, the one thing that really caught my attention is I keep finding a lot, even with some bands that are more well established and really respected in their genre, it still eventually starts to start some bands. They get into this place where things become kind of cliche
Mhm.
and everything about what you guys were doing, it was like you're hitting all of the notes of all of what I want, but you're not doing it in a way that's predictable. And is that something that you kind of like think about while you write, or what's it like while you write? Like, how do song ideas begin for you?
Right. Well, it's I guess what we write is what we genuinely like to listen to in other people's music, and what we like to play. So everything that we write is basically what I'm trying to say is that we write from a place of honesty, and what we
Right.
write is what we like. We don't try to. I guess we're not trying to appeal to a big audience, or I don't know, record labels, or we just write what seems fun to us, in a way.
Yeah, see, that's what I think that's what I'm trying to touch on is like, yeah, it seems to come from a place of honesty. Maybe that's probably what the word is, really. And is that like a gut feeling sort of a thing for you, or is like how do you know when like you're on the right track? I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, sometimes when I write music, there is this feelings of being really excited about what I'm writing, and it only comes every so often. But when it happens, it means that we're getting somewhere that is, or we're getting something that is special. And with all these tracks, we always try to work on them until we found this spot where every one of us was very excited about the result. So that's probably.
Yeah, I think that's probably it right there. So have you found any really good techniques of dealing with writer's block?
Um, yeah, I guess I don't really have a lot of writer's block. Yeah, I guess it's just whenever I sit at the piano, I blurt out ideas. I can do it for hours, and then I guess I don't really judge what I'm doing, and I only look at it afterwards. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, when you guys were recording and all this, was there any extra influences that were like you were trying to think of, like you because I know you were sort of the sound design behind a lot of the album. Were there some other albums that you were kind of looking at in terms of like a sonic style that you kind of liked?
Yeah, I guess probably the biggest influence in for every one of us in terms of sound and also direction is probably the band Haken. Don't know if you're familiar. It's a
Yeah,
English
yeah.
band.
I am infamously at odds with pronouncing it Haken on my show,
Right.
but I have always called it Hawken, and then somebody finally told me no, it's pronounced Haken, and
Right.
I was oh, I didn't realize. So, but typical for me. No, they're a very good band, and like they're the same thing that I was talking about earlier, about not sounding cliche. Like Haken is one of those bands that I can never predict what they're going to do.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I guess on a more personal level, what they seem to be doing that a lot of other bands are not doing is, especially for keyboards, there is such a attention to detail to the keyboard sounds that is not only like playing very fast or like playing like a lot of scales, so all that. So there is a real attention to sound design and sound variety and synthesizers, and yeah, I really dig that.
I just wanted to know, like, so, where's the best place for people to go to find your music?
Probably the best place is Facebook. We have a Facebook page, Black Painted Moon, and we have YouTube page. And yeah, probably these two places are the best to reach us.
Is there anything else that you wanted to let the listeners know?
Well, I'd be really glad if you gave our album a chance and if you listen to it, and if you like it, please send us a message. We're always happy to hear that people are listening to our music.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, thank you very much. Take care.
Yeah, you too. Talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Bye.